Bonjour tout le monde! Hi everybody, welcome back to the channel guys. I hope you're doing amazing. I'm happy to see you today for another video. And for this week's video, we're gonna talk about holidays. We're gonna talk about France, we're gonna talk about Paris, and we're gonna talk about how you can express yourself if you spend a day in Paris. So that is the topic of today's class, a day in Paris. We're gonna see the vocab that you might need, all the French expressions that will be like super easy for you to walk around if you are in Paris and you're looking for something, looking for some help, all the basic and useful vocabs. So let's start off straight away with la table des matières. Table des matières, what are we going to see in this video? First, découvrir Paris et ses lieux célèbres. To discover Paris and its famous places. Then number 2, parler de la routine quotidienne. To talk about the daily routine, daily life, activities that you can do on a daily context. Apprendre le vocabulaire des activités. To learn the activities vocab. Utiliser les verbes du quotidien. To be able to use the daily verbs. Décrire une journée à Paris. Describe a typical day in Paris. And last but not least, as usual, you have your little exercice final, your final exercise, where you have to practice what we just saw in this video. So let's just start right now with les objectifs, which mean the goals. What are the goals of this class? À la fin de la leçon, je peux décrire une journée simple. At the end of this lesson, I can describe a simple day. Dire l'heure et les moments de la journée. I can say the time and the moments of the day. Parler de mes activités. Talk about my activities. Utiliser le verbe aller, faire, prendre, visiter. Be able to use the verbs to go, to do, to take, to visit. Poser et répondre à des questions simples. To be able to ask and to answer to some simple and basic question in French. That is it for today's video when it comes to all the topics that we're going to see. So let's just start right now, and I'm going to start with les lieux à Paris, which means the places in Paris. What are the main places, most common, most famous? First, of course, if you know a little bit about Paris, you might have heard about the Eiffel Tower, which is in French, la tour Eiffel. Tower is a feminine word, so we say la tour and then the name Eiffel. Then we have the Louvre Museum, which is le musée du Louvre. Then we have the Montmartre neighborhood, which is like a super beautiful neighborhood that is quartier in Paris. If you're in Paris, you should definitely go to Montmartre. You have a crazy view of the city. You have like a lot of painters that are like doing portraits. It's very romantic. It's a beautiful neighborhood. We call that Montmartre, and you don't pronounce the T. Montmartre. Then we have the river. The river that goes through the city is called la Seine. La Seine. And then basic vocab, a garden is un jardin. And of course, if you want to say a cafe, like the coffee place, you're going to say un café. Because there's a bunch in Paris and they're delicious. Now, we're going to talk about la journée. La journée means the day. You know that in the day, you have specific moments. You have the morning, which is le matin. You have the afternoon, that is l'après-midi. You have the evening, that is le soir. And then you have the night, that is la nuit. Let's try to make phrasing using those vocab. So, for example, if I want to say, in the morning, I drink coffee. I'm going to say, le matin, je bois un café. Then, if you want to say, in the evening, I go to a restaurant. You can say, le soir, je vais au restaurant. And now you can put your moment of the day that makes it like more specific and we know like at what time you're doing those activities. So it's pretty cool. Now let's focus on a typical day in Paris. So for example, I made you a little text. Bonjour, je m'appelle Emma. Hi, hello, good morning. My name is Emma. Le matin, je me réveille à 7 heures. Meaning in the morning, I wake up at 7. Je prends un café dans un petit café parisien. I take a coffee in a small Parisian coffee shop. Ensuite, Je vais au musée du Louvre. Then, I go to the Louvre Museum. À midi, midi means noon. À midi, je mange un sandwich dans un parc. At noon, I eat a sandwich in a park. L'après-midi, je visite la Tour Eiffel et je prends des photos. In the afternoon, I visit the Eiffel Tower and I take some pictures. Le soir, je mange au restaurant avec mes amis. Soir, if you remember, we just saw it. What is soir? In the evening, I eat at the restaurant with my friends. And then, j'adore Paris. I love Paris. One thing when it comes to the name of the city, in French, we never pronounce the S. So careful. It's not Paris, like we say in English. It's Paris. Don't pronounce the S to sound French. Now we have, of course, a list of verbs that are super useful when it comes to, okay, just describing your day, whether it is in Paris or not. But for example, like if you have question, if you're like visiting the city and you're looking for something specifically, you need to use some specific verbs. We're going to see them right now. When it comes to daily activities, things you do on a daily basis, we start with to wake up, which is se réveiller. Then to get up is se lever. To have a coffee, prendre un café, which is the same as to take a coffee. Prendre un café. To have breakfast is prendre le petit déjeuner. To eat, manger. To visit, visiter. To walk, marcher. To take a walk, faire une promenade. Faire une promenade. To watch or to look at, regarder. To take pictures, prendre des photos. To buy, acheter. To meet friends, rencontrer des amis. I do my link. Rencontrer des amis. To talk, parler. To listen, écouter. To relax, se reposer. To go back home, rentrer à la maison. To have dinner, dîner. Dîner is the verb that we use to say to have dinner. And then to sleep, dormir. One more time. Pretty quick. Se réveiller, se lever, prendre un café, prendre le petit déjeuner, manger, visiter, marcher, faire une promenade, regarder, prendre des photos, acheter, rencontrer des amis, parler, écouter, se reposer, rentrer à la maison, dîner, dormir. And now you have a lot of verbs that you can use depending the context, but those verbs are pretty great. So now we're just going to focus on the main verbs that I can say and their spelling, just to make sure. I think you might know already how to conjugate those verbs, but it's always good to like just have a little recap. So we're going to focus on one of the most important verbs when it comes to like visit a place for the holidays, place that is new for you. It's of course the verb to go. So we're going to say aller. So we're going to focus on to go. To go is aller. If you want to conjugate that, I go, je vais. You go, tu vas. He or she goes, il, elle va. We go is nous allons. You go, formal or plural, is vous allez. And they go, masculine or feminine, it's ils, elles vont. Example, I go to the museum. Je vais au musée. And you connect it when you pronounce it. Je vais au musée. This is the verb aller. Then we have the verb to do, faire. Je fais, tu fais, il, elle fait, with the T, careful. Nous faisons, we do. If I want to say you do, either formal or plural. You know that tu is the you that is informal and singular. If you want to say, for example, like to someone you're not close to or to a group of people, many people at the same time, you do. You're going to say vous, but not faisez. We're supposed to put EZ ending. It's supposed to be the same as nous, same base. This one is completely different. When you want to say you do, careful is vous faites, ending with TES. And then they do, ils, elles font. Example, if I want to say, I take a walk. Je fais une promenade. This verb is super useful. And last we have the verb prendre. Prendre is to take. Je prends, DS at the end. Tu prends, same, DS. Il, elle prend, remove the S, just keep your D. Nous prenons. Now there's no D at all, you just put the ONS ending. Nous prenons. Vous prenez, ils, elles prennent. Exemple, I take the subway, je prends le métro. Now if you want to make a phrase, little example. Here I made you a structure of a phrase. You don't have to use it specifically, but it can help you if you want to build a sentence. You can start by saying the moment of the day. Then you have the subject, which is le sujet. Right after your subject, you always have the verb, le verbe. Then you complete the verb with an activity, activité, and you finish with a place, un lieu. Exemple. Le matin, moment, je prends un café. I take a coffee, activité, au café, in a café. And now you have everything. Another example. L'après-midi, je visite le Louvre. In the afternoon, I visit the Louvre Museum. And last, le soir, je mange au restaurant. In the evening, I eat at the restaurant. We tend to always put a comma when we decide to put the moment at the beginning. Meaning when we want to start the moment in the beginning of a phrase, you're going to say le matin, l'après-midi, le soir, comma, and then you continue your phrase with your subject, verb, whatever. If you decide to put the moment at the end, which is doable, for example, I can say, for the last phrase, je mange au restaurant le soir. I eat at the restaurant in the evening. That works. If you decide to place it at the end, there's no comma needed. You're just going to place a comma after the place if you place it at the beginning of a phrase. Okay, now it's your turn. I would like you to try to write a little bit with some examples here, and I would like you to make 5 sentences. We have some specific moment of the day. Le matin, l'après-midi, le soir. Morning, afternoon, evening. Then we have ensuite. Ensuite means then. So you say, for example, in the morning, I go to school, then I return back home, whatever. Something like that. I would like you to follow the specific moments that I gave you, and I would like you to complete those phrases with an activity, something that you might do according to this specific moment of the day. And the last one is à midi. À midi means at noon. So you can tell me an activity that you do at noon. It can be something that you do on a daily basis. It can be something that you do when you're on holidays. It can be something that you would like to do if you're in Paris. The goal is just for you to be able to make phrases on your own and practice with the vocab. So try to make those phrases. And if you have any question, don't hesitate. You can always text us, try to write the answer down in the comment section. Do it, I don't know, in a piece of paper and send it to us so that we can correct you. We'll always be here and happy to help. And that is pretty much it for today's video. So I hope that you guys liked it. If you did, don't forget to put a little thumbs up, subscribe to the channel. We're doing videos every week on different topics so that you can learn vocabs every week. And yeah, I'm wishing you all a good end of your week, good weekend, good holidays for those who are on vacation. And I'm seeing you next week for another video. Salut!